Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we'll be taking a look at the track Tooth and Nail by the American hard rock band Saul. This is one of the singles the band have released from their upcoming album This Is It, The End of Everything, which is due to land on July 28th and surprisingly is only the band's second album despite forming in 2007. They have released a string of different EPs and they released their debut studio album Rise as Equals in 2020. The band really seem to be hitting that point where they are starting to spread their wings and get a bit more exposure to places other than just the US, where they have been very centralised in their music being heard and they're starting to reach out to other parts of the world. It certainly seems the band have certainly shown some diversity with the tracks they have been releasing from this upcoming album. They've also had the chance to work with people such as David Draymond of Disturbed, so they've really got some heavy hitters on board to really kind of provide them with the foundation to help build their music on. So will this track fight tooth and nail or simply give up at the beginning? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds. So with this opening, I love how we've got this kind of childlike vocal coming in. Where do we go when all has fallen? Where do we go when it all falls down? Then kind of tapering it off with almost like this powering down, this record scratch moment, kind of almost like the last gasp of humanity almost before everything finally collapses, before we smash into that hard rock style. But I like the transitions we have got, going from that soft piano key intro into the hard rock style, really kind of quite jarring almost, really showing that strong effect. Also with the actual softer vocals coming from Blake Saul coming into this verse, come to light, a growing fever, twist the knife a little deeper. You can certainly see this track is going to reflect around the idea of aggression almost, kind of two sides maybe fighting almost in conflict. You can really see that cross the line, you'll feel the anger. So one person overstepping their boundaries, trying to really overpower the other, you'll feel the anger, it's growing stronger. So you can almost see this rise, this aggression building. We might see it continue to do so as we do head further through the track. But I like already, even in this the first kind of minute or so, we have got these really interesting styles changes really blended together quite nicely.
So sound alarms and gather arms, don't hesitate. With backs to walls, we're digging in, it's not too late. Suppress the fear, the enemy is at the gates. There's no escape. Where do we go?
So one thing I love they did in the chorus was this beautiful layering of bringing those childlike vocals back in with these electronic effects and this hard rock styling as well. It's very beautifully put together. It doesn't feel like one element is really outstepping the other or trying to really drown the other out. And I like the production because it's something very similar to bands such as Starset, really going for that almost sound that they like to really incorporate into their music. Very atmospheric certainly, and certainly you can see with the vocals kind of drawing in lots of different styles almost. You can see kind of elements of David Draymond, you can see Benjamin Burnley from Breaking Benjamin and Dustin Bates from Starset, really almost kind of mixing in very well with these strong lead vocalists, and we can really see Blake doing the same here. He's really got that ability to just kind of add that aggression to his vocals to really make it quite strong and really push that aggression out as well. We can see with the lyrics as well, when it's hell, give them hell. So almost give as good as you get almost, when fighting tooth and nail, just really showing that you're kind of not going to give up till that last breath almost. So we can really see the song developing that idea of being this very rising revolution, almost fight back track when someone tries to challenge you or overthrow you. Okay, one thing I really love that they're doing with the actual drums on this track, it kind of has almost that marching pace to it, that idea of almost that revolutionary sound. You can really see it being brought in at some of these points where the track really dips into these softer vocals, and I love that little transition that they're working with to really add to that effect. It's really quite strong how they do that, and we've got more lyrics really showing this idea of eye for eye, this constant reflection on give as good as you get. Don't just kind of roll over and die almost. Feel the rush building up, the desperation, the motivation. So take a vow here and now, we're never giving up. Even when we've had, so even when you just feel like you are completely down and out, don't just kind of back down. Just really kind of fight, force your way forward. So I like how a lot of the song lyrics are really easy to understand, but they reflect this idea very strong with these aggressive tones.
Where do we go when all has fallen? Where do we go when it all falls down? When it's hell, give 'em hell. When it's hell, give 'em hell. We're fighting tooth and nail. Where do we go when all has fallen? Where do we go when it all falls down? Where do we go when all has fallen? Where do we go when it all falls down?
And I really love how we get this really crescendic build. We're really seeing it, just really amping things up with these kind of screams that are stretched out. Really just seeing this chaotic build coming into the track, almost like that point in War where just those two sides clash together, everything just kind of erupts, and you can really see them doing that with the sound as well. Really just pulling in lots of elements very, very quickly, still keeping it quite melodic, but adding that pounding pace into different points of the track. They really just again show this idea of almost this clashing. And although some of the lyrics can seem a little bit repetitive, they haven't seen a massive change throughout the track as it does progress, but I really like that. It's almost like rounds in a boxing match. This idea of fighting tooth and nail, just going over the same thing over and over, not giving up. So I kind of like the repetitive styling of the lyrics. The fact it is quite anthemic as well, very inclusive with the O's kind of thrown in the backing vocal, really just adds that element to just really get everybody on board with it.
Where do we go when all has fallen? Where do we go when it all falls down? Where do we go when all has fallen? Where do we go when it all falls down? When it's hell, give 'em hell. When it's hell, give 'em hell. We're fighting tooth and nail. Where do we go when all we're fighting tooth and nail? Where do we go when it all falls down? Where do we go when all has fallen? Where do we go? We're fighting tooth and nail.
What a great track that is. I love some of the layering that we have got, the masterful production that really is being brought in, and this idea of not giving up, fighting for the future, fighting tooth and nail, and the inclusion of these kind of childlike vocals. It is something that Starset do very heavily in a lot of their music. That really adds an extra layer to many of the tracks, and you can really see the band putting this to such a strong effect as well. This is a track that really does have that pounding energy, but keeps it very melodic, keeps it very inclusive. It has all the elements of a great hard rock track, also quite subtly blending in these electronic elements, which so for some bands they're not able to do it quite efficiently, but certainly for Saul they've managed to do it very well, and they're certainly becoming a band I am very looking forward to getting to hear more from. I can't wait to hear this full album. This is it, the end of everything, when it does land on July 28th, and they're certainly a band that are worth checking out if you are a fan of acts such as Disturbed, Breaking Benjamin, Starset, Smashing to Pieces, a lot of those other hard rock bands that are in the scene, because these guys certainly deserve quite a bit of recognition if the rest of the album is going to sound as interesting as some of the tracks have done so far. So that'll be everything for today's video, but as always, feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below if you've never heard of this band before, and if you'd like to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.